All right, so as an intro, welcome to live stream. I'm a little bit early here, but that's okay. Can just let things marinate. Live stream, we're gonna hopefully pick up some distant stations on shortwave. I am in Los Angeles tonight. I did not make it out of town because of the rain. So the rain makes the ground soft out in the desert, and didn't want to deal with all that. So here we are. We're going to try it here in the city, and it's not going to work real well. We're going to take a look at some other old radios and TVs. And I guess while things are warming up, I could go through some of the discussion from today's video. Some of the comments on today's video. So let me try and do that because there's always interesting comments. Let's see. They've made this thing so complex and confusing. Unresponded. Let's get rid of that. Today was a transistor radio video, sort of a simple, quick video. Not all repairs are in depth and take a lot of time. Like last week's video was a very complicated television, 50s box TV. And so a lot of talk on today's video about bypassing the earphone jack, people saying they still lay in bed and listen to AM on an earphone. Okay, I guess so. Of course, the radio today was made by Arvin. Let's see here. Yeah, anyway. A lot of off-topic comments today about Hammond organs and Booker T and the MGs and automotive stuff, lockup on torque converter lockup in automatic transmissions. Just a lot of kind of off-topic stuff. Anyway, tonight the victim of choice is a transoceanic azimuth solid state TO3000. The TO2000 has FM. This is the 3000. And KYET, Cactus Country, still going. I haven't heard anything about KYET. Greetings from Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Yeah, a lot of people talk about the car videos a lot, and I'm just trying to focus on the electronic stuff for now. Try and separate your hobbies from your work, you know. So let's see. We're just going to let this kind of marinate. I'll go through some more of the questions or comments from today's video. Yeah, last week's video was the video of the year, the Packard Bell that had a lot of stuff that needed to be fixed on it. Yeah, not a lot of questions on today's video. Just totally tubular, man. Like, yeah, dude. Like, totally, dude. Anyway, audio karma. Audio karma and video karma replaced by Facebook. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, not a lot to discuss out of today's videos. I'll try and read the questions and comments here while things warm up. The weather is nice here where I'm at. Hi, Thailand. I need to go back out to the desert, and you will soon learn why when I turn this mic around. KNX is just owning everything, which Kalamazoo. Is video karma and audio karma still a thing? Are those still? Are they still going? I remember we all kind of got started there when got back into this hobby. Of course, I got back into this hobby sometime. So, yeah, the Siamese cat. That's left a hole here for sure. So this is mostly just going to be random discussion tonight because, as you'll see, KNX is just owning absolutely everything here. It's totally ridiculous, and that's why I go out to the desert, but I just couldn't pull it off. So, Flint, Michigan, SoCal. Okay, SoCal. So you know how the weather is here. Can we do all 50 states? Are we like state bagging right now? Okay, the Packard Bell test set. Packard Bell test set's doing very well. It's hasn't done or needed anything in quite a while now over the past year, which is to be expected. Once you work the bugs out of something, it will basically be reliable and operate reliably until its end of life. I'm curious to see last live stream, AI will extract a segment, and it extracted my rant about vehicles end of life. And I just posted it because I figured let's just let that go. That was pretty cool. It was pretty accurate. It was well done on AI's part. Brazil. Yeah, auto repair stuff. There's a bunch of guys that do auto repair already. YouTube's got that tied down, and they're good. Those guys are good. Packard Bell is running probably about 10 hours a day. I don't know, something like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we took a new old stock set from 1968 and just slammed it into daily use with doing very little except some basic documentation, and just are letting it go and see what it does. Ralph is hanging out. How's Ralph, which is referring to a radio I restored that's hanging out in the car. I always get a bunch of comments about doing auto repair videos. And the thing is those, when I would do auto repair videos, they would never do very well. I get a lot of requests for them, but the bottom line is they don't get, hardly any views. So why would I waste my effort doing that? Right? I mean, people like the vintage radio and TV thing. So I'm here to please people. My whole life revolves around pleasing the cloud, right? So anyway, let's listen to this noise here. This is a Zenith Transoceanic. It was recapped years ago, and I just aligned it today for this. Went through and aligned it for this little whatever this is. LA Oldies is back to classical. Pocket radio repairs. Yeah, I get a lot of requests for transistor radio repair too, but those, again, the videos just don't do a lot of, get as many views as, of course, the television and tube radios. I do have a couple tube radios here today we are going to take a look at. A couple real beauties. We have this one here, and we have this one here, and we have some shoebox TVs back here that I just picked up. These are called shoebox TVs. And of course, those are GE. And of course, this here, that's an RCA. Everybody knows the RCA KCS 100 shoebox set. So we can take a look at that stuff as things get going. How many TVs do you have? Way too many. Way too many. Way too many. Hundreds. I'm sure with all the little small stuff, hundreds. And, I fixed some for somebody who does professional playback stuff. And recently a video came out, a commercial for Target. And maybe I'll try and show that later in at least the part where that contains the part of the commercial that contains some of the Trinitrons that I fixed on this channel. So let's listen to this garbage for a minute. And what you're going to hear right now, I'm on 4 to 9 megahertz, which on Saturday night seems to be where all the action is. And I'm getting nothing but KNX riding on top of everything. So let's have a listen to this. This is pretty pitiful. Five megahertz, 5.56. Kidnapping of the suspected thief's parents in Connecticut last year. They're safe now. The federal prosecutors say Adam Isa of Beverly Hills and all of this is KNX. All of this crap. I'm working with the sheriff's deputy to intimidate and shut down the KNX again. Okay, this must be, why do I always blank out? The one out of Florida that plays music on Saturday night. Want to be careful because every one of these live streams gets content ID'd. So we're... WRMI, there you go. Wow, this is impressive. I could just listen to this for the rest of my life.
Like unto thee, that pardoneth iniquity, and passeth by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage. He retaineth not his anger forever, because he delighteth in mercy. He will turn again. Have compassion upon us. He will subdue our iniquities. And I will cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Raise your hand. This is the overcomer conviction and God anointing.
Decision to follow comes at a cost. And Jesus tells elsewhere, what man buildeth that he doesn't sit down first and count the cost? Be far better never followed than to profess with their mouth and their heart is so far, maybe in another town.
Compañía puede sacar modesto pecho de haber recuperado un irrisorio 0,7% de ocupación entre junio y septiembre. Es verdad, como tú dices, lo tienen que hacer. Y pese a la persistencia de las campañas en redes que buscan desincentivar el destino.
Let's try. Just for fun, let's try the AM broadcast band at the top where there's a blank spot where there's no stations here locally. Let's see what we get. This has FM too. The 3000 has FM.
Profundizando.
Now I dance in the wind. To explain how they do it. And I am going to be offering you all mannequins. We're looking for any stories.
그래서 또 그 탕을 요즘 많이 드시는 분이 예. Verdadera que va a venir. Vino, nos deja el Espíritu Santo y ahora lo que.
All right. Before we get too deep into this and everyone bails out from boredom of listening to crappy staticky junk, let's go over a couple of these radios I got here that I'm thinking about restoring. And hopefully somebody can help me identify them because I like to have service data. So yeah, someone's posting a comment about the buzzing in the audio on the old sets. And alignment has a lot to do with that. And also just the fact that contrast was a lot different. Things were a lot different back in those days when those sets were built. They had, maximum contrast ratios and stuff like that, where today it's just like full bore. Okay. Box TVs, shoebox TVs, like 9-inch portable shoebox TVs. I couldn't resist. They had to come home with me. So a few weeks ago, I did a video on a radio that I picked up that someone else tried to restore and they didn't get there. There was no happy ending for it. And of course, we got to the bottom of it and there was a happy ending. So this one, I want to possibly, this came in that same batch of radios. And I want to possibly restore this, make working again. So does someone recognize this? Does somebody know the model number by looking at this? Oh yeah, just put a Bluetooth module in it, sure. We're gonna take a look at this. It says apparently this is an RCA set. And any idea the year? 35, 34, 35. This is somebody else's given up on restore project. Speaker cone is cracked. At least that's not fixed yet. Do we have a model number on the bottom? No, we do not. Okay, so here are the tubes. 57, 58, 2A5 or 2A6 and 2A5 and then an 80, which is a rectifier. stand core transformer. That could be a replacement. Finally. Hello, finally. So this is sort of interesting. This has been recapped at some point with these white ceramic tubular things that like to explode and blow the end out of them. Aerofilm. M80 caps. Western Air Patrol Model 28. Is that where we're going here? Western Air Patrol Model 28? But this is an RCA, I thought. Or is this just the RCA licensing badge in the back? Is that what that is? So antenna coil, oscillator coil. It is super heterodyne, which is kind of cool. It's got one of those flexome resistors there. Isn't that what that is? Okay, so Western Air Patrol Model 28. That can be glued. So we got this for possible make working again. Yeah, I guess I could do that thing where I take a picture of it and then put it into Google and let it identify it, right? All right. Let's set this to the side. Well built. The thing about old radios is there's somebody that has one and has restored it and just knows the number by looking at it. Every time I post a video and I don't know the it's identified within seconds. All right, we got another beauty here. The ballast tube is flopping in the wind. I believe that's a ballast tube. So this says Grew now. Grunow Teledial model 588. And then here it says model BF 207. And unfortunately, we can't see anything here. So that'll have to be a surprise in the actual restore video or the resurrection video. Okay. Let me set everybody down here. We replace these ballast tubes with capacitors and diodes and resistors these days anyway. So let's take a second here. Stand by. Model 28. Let's see. Let's see if the internet gets it right. All right. Okay. There's that. There's a Western Air Patrol Model 28. Need to do is we need to see the inside. But that looks really close. Oh, here we go, Radio Museum. Show me the tube count. Radio Museum. Oh, here we go. Here we go. 57, 58, 2A6, 2A5, and 80. With the fireworks going in the background. The model date contradicts tube dates 2A6, 1933. Yeah, okay. I think we see people can just identify radios just by looking at the front of them. It's really impressive. Yeah, someone here is talking about CB radios. I need to do another CB radio video. I need to see what's going on the CB. See if there's any local activity. Did you find a solution to your HD to NTSC converter being phased out? I'm not sure I understand that question. What's being phased out? As of today, I'm still using an ATSC converter box along with DirecTV with an analog channel 3, 4 out. They haven't killed it yet. And I'm not going to switch up until, I'm going to drag it out until the very last minute. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing until they cut me off. So, they're trying to sell me on, upgrade today and we'll give you a discount. Well, I'm going to wait until you cut it off and you pay me to take the new equipment. Because that's what they do. That's what the cell phone companies did when they were turning off the older generations. They were, they would slowly ramp up their free offers until the very end. And then it's like, okay, well, we're on our knees begging to keep you as a customer. So the audio's cutting off. I don't know. Blame Starlink. I'll take a break for a second. So this is a show and tell. It's sort of just an open discussion, since I ended up not being able to go out to the desert because of all the rain and mud and flooding. So I still wanted to stick with the planned live stream. So I'm just doing it from home, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just free for all. Exactly. Anytime they try and force you to upgrade into a new technology, I've just learned, just ride it until the very end. Just wait until they cut you off. That's what DirecTV wants to do. They want me to upgrade to the HD digital, package, but they say, "Oh, well, we'll give you all the equipment free, but your monthly bill is going to go up 20%." I'm like, no, we're going to wait until they say the equipment's free and your bill's going to go down 20% if you stay with us. Because it's ridiculous if you sign up as a new customer, you get all that anyway. So, I mean, audio's cutting in and out. I'm just reading the comments. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Chris. I think there's going to be solutions to the old TV thing for quite a while. China will come out with some converter or something that you plug the HDMI in and it puts, I actually have them. They're selling them on Amazon right now. Peru. Hello, Peru. No, nothing. Do you get anything on the long wave band? Nothing on the long wave. There used to be Morse code aviation beacons on long wave, but I think the last one went off a few years ago. Okay, what was that about the stereo MPX? Would love to see more FM tube stereo MPX videos. Yes, I need to do that. I need to do the video, the finished video on that Harman Kardon. Maybe I could do that tomorrow. I found this, a viewer found the schematic on that multiplex unit, so we can fix and align that thing. Tube stereo decoding, FM stereo decoding. KTNN uses shortwave. What do you mean by that? KTNN is on 660 AM. Maybe we can do KTNN here. Let's see. See what we can do here.
Almava Casino and
You don't use the darn thing. Get out now. How the best bulldog timeshare cancellation team in the business. Their in-house legal team headed by timeshare cancellation lawyers can help you fight the biggest and baddest companies out there that sell timeshare.
Stand by.
At some point you were using your timeshare, but now you're not.
Saturday. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Oh, very.
Put more money back in your pocket. Costs you a lot.
Is this KTNN?
And you'll save a lot of money over time. Call Timeshare Exit Hotline now. It's a free consultation.
800-897-1434. 800-897-1434. 800-897-1434. That's 800-897-1434. 670 AM.
KIRN, Simi Valley, Los Angeles. 95.5 FM, HD3.
European leaders are voicing concerns about the U.S. peace plan for Ukraine.
25 years of studies.
Okay, if that was 670, KTNN 660 should be right here. So were they off the air again? Can somebody else do a KTNN check? 660 AM.
The DOJ argues that
That's 640 KFI. I've never picked up 670.
about the Trump.
Oh, wait, here it is. It was silent for a minute. This is KTNN. Does the transoceanic have a BFO for decoding sideband beat frequency oscillator? No, it does not. In fact, one of these times I need to set another radio next to, we could try that. I got and basically use one radio sitting next to the other to decode the sideband. Why don't you do an IC radio repair, maybe a Sony from the 80s? What's the point of fixing something with an IC in it? It's just an IC. Like, what all could be wrong with it? We like discrete stuff. Reading the comments. How close are you to the KNX transmitter site? I don't know, mile and a half. Can you please fix the audio? Anyone else here currently buying lots of old electronics on Goodwill? Yeah, probably about a 1962 Zenith Transoceanic. Greetings from Cape Town. Audio cutting in and out. I need to figure out how I'm going to deal with that.
Now, this song actually first came out back in 1969 by DXing, but it was Ricky Skaggs who turned it into a chart-topping bluegrass country crossover. In fact, it was his fifth #1 in the country chart. No problem, not 5 hot dogs, 5 #1s. Well, come to think of it, both are pretty impressive. Now, Ricky Skaggs once said he loved the song because, quote, it's about real love.
All this noise is city crap. The switching mode supplies and the street lights and everything else. Everything's a switching mode supply now. In Santa Clarita, California, on the web SDR-KTNN is very faint, but it's there. So, yeah, it seems weak tonight. I'm going to get my copyright thingy here. So let's play with that. Let's try that as an experiment right now, using 2 radios to okay, stand by. Okay. Okay. All right. It's going to take me a minute to set this up, but let's try this. Putting the shortwave antenna up. Now we need to find some sideband activity, single sideband activity, probably in what, 20 or 40 meters. Let's see.
Él se acercaron a sus tropas. Con el fan. Bueno, Mónica.
En la franja a los niños casi 1 millón de lados a la inestabilidad.
Seven megahertz full of sideband. Okay. But I'm not getting here. Okay. So the idea here is to take another radio and just set it next to this one, and then basically use the oscillator from that radio to interfere with this radio and add the carrier back in. So let's see what we can do here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I've got the sideband playing on this radio. I'm right about 7 point something megahertz. I'm just going to take this radio and I'm going to tune it across the dial until the oscillator from this radio hits that radio. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out right now. At some point, this oscillator will interfere with that radio. We don't even need this turned up. Of course, now the sideband is gone.
Now what's my number?
It's working.
Thank you for coming in. Got a nice signal there, guys.
So, in case you're not fully informed on what I'm doing here, I'm on 7 megahertz here, which is one of the ham bands, and I'm listening to single sideband. And this radio does not have a beat frequency oscillator. So what I'm doing is I'm using the oscillator in this radio to interfere and re-inject a carrier into what we are listening to on this radio. So you are listening to this radio, and I am tuning this radio. And the reverse should be the same too. Hold on, let me. I should be able to shut this radio down, turn the volume all the way down on this radio. Then we'll listen on this radio and use the other radio as the injection.
El próximo lunes 24.
I'm not finding it here. I'm not finding the sideband stations here. The solid state radio is kicking ass. Oh, there we go. Come on. Keep talking.
Don't be sorry.
It's not exactly easy to do. These are really touchy. The problem, they talk for like 2 seconds and anyway, okay, what was that? 3.853 has a large group right now. Let's see. 3.8. That's about, well, no. Oh, yeah. There we go. Keep talking! Anyway.
Yeah, S6S7 for me as well, right here in my evening here.
Terrible, I can always go back to what I have, but we'll see where it ends up when I get there. I have on 28er, not on 75. No, on 150 meters. I did that a couple of years. I can't say that I've done any DXing on 160.
So I guess if the world was ending and you needed to listen to this, this is how you do it with 2 radios using one. And this is the same. This is the same thing you do when you're testing the oscillator in a radio you're working on to know if it's working. You set another radio next to it and tune and see if you pick it up. Let me see what the comments are doing here. And into this noise thing. This video is relaxing.
Good for him, that's awesome.
None of these guys are IDing either that I'm listening to.
Well, if you're on the peak of something and it's narrow enough, then it's that certainly changes the takeoff angle.
Okay.
The faster the land is falling off in that direction, you're going to get lower angle of radiation, correct?
They're just talking away here.
Nice. It's always a good thing when you get issued a call sign that you want.
Getting feedback through the damn tubes. Anyway, enough of that. Now we're back on the tube transoceanic. And it's even worse with KNX blowing through everything. Does everyone have a happy Black Friday max out your credit card events day sale planned? It's just a week away. Get that plastic cranking.
Unfortunately, we're prepared for it. Is that why I bought the dynamite one? We'll find to be a skeleton. In that case, it would have been a waste of dynamite. All right, well, we'll count it. Oh, Sam. What do you want? Get this dynamite, Sam. We're going to blast that landslide. Professor, that's to leave it same way it be. Why? One spirit, sleep in cave. What was that? Wake him up. I really believe that, Martin. I wouldn't laugh. Sam may be uneducated, but he senses things that you and I can't even begin to comprehend. You believe what he said? Evil being asleep in that cave? I wouldn't say that I believe it. But nevertheless, I Sam's opinion. Sam, I still want to blast that landslide. Hey, this dynamite. Ready? Yes, Professor. All right, here goes.
Action is maintained. There is created.
Yes, it is. Sam, let me have one of the flashbacks. Martin, you take the other. I'll lead the way in. Just as you said, Professor. Air doesn't seem too bad in here. This is Jerusalem. This is spirit. This is the head of spiritual Jerusalem. Every man of God in here that preaches has been handpicked by God to be here at this time. Every ministration that's here, Bible study, evangelism, whatever it may be. Man's right, it's a wagon.
I'm trying to find this on that.
Wagon train retreated into this cavern, hoping to save themselves that way. When the Indians caused the landslide, stealing the men. Yeah. Oh, devils. Show us that old gun line there. The flintlock.
Between 5.6 and 6.
The grace of our Lord Jesus. Amen. This wagon train, hurry. Next morning. Goodness, he was with us then. He needs no base covering.
Okay, so it's below that.
Found on
There it is.
among the moldy clothing and 101 household articles we found faded letters, newspapers which showed the wagon train across the Mississippi in summer of 1849. Headed west for California and gold. We finished the effects of the wagon. The professor suggested we
Okay, so the tube one is kicking ass. That's the solid state one.
Mark our trail. Caverns with compass passages. I think we've come, Professor. I could say we're about a mile from the wagon train. We'll go back a few more minutes. Back now. This place here, Understand? If there are ghosts here, they're only the ghosts of the people in the wagon train. They wouldn't find us. That's what we need. All around. We'll go back. We'll go just a little further. Maintain that. Professor, wait a minute. What is it? Oh, I think I hear running water. Yes, you're right. Come along. We seem to be getting closer. Can't be much further. Well, there it is.
Sorry, solid state tube is kicking your ass.
Probably flows for miles underground and it empties into the Colorado River.
Faltan 45 minutos.
It never gets old as far as
Biden.
Approach me.
Flamengo.
en San Diego. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.
Cuando llegó a la tumba. I'd like to thank
de la vida de
calor de ciento de... Y al tenis, otra cosa es el partido, ¿no? Durante los 90 minutos hay que jugar los partidos.
No, totalmente de acuerdo. Que obviamente te ayuda mucho el presupuesto, pero no lo es todo.
Antes yo decía, Max, que la Copa Libertadores era un torneo diseñado, estructurado para que lo ganara.
Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you disquieted within me? Hope in God, for I shall yet praise him, the help of my countenance and my God.
Thanks for spending a few moments in God's Word with us. To hear more, visit familyradio.org.
Someone asked about the Royal 7000 I had before. That was somebody else's I was fixing for them. So reading comments here, looking for something to more than family radio. Yeah, let's do some of this for a minute. Sorry, Ireland, that's cruel. That's cruel. It's all about being cruel. Headphone warning. Yeah. A lot of it is a speaker in the transoceanic. Of course, speaker is everything. Where's the Ralph radio? The Ralph radio is, we are in the city tonight. I have to keep repeating for all the newcomers. I was not able to make it out to the desert because of all the rain and mud and all of that stuff. So we are not getting any cool AM DX tonight because I just swamped with all the stuff from local, high power stuff. So top fans. I wonder what that button does. Let's see. Oh, yes. That was good. So it tells you who your top fans are here. Orange Boy. Angry Dove. Okay, Orange Boy, tell us about yourself. Let's learn something here. Calling Orange Boy, tell us about yourself. Waiting on Orange Boy, calling Orange Boy. So the top fans thing, that's tells in the YouTube statistics, it tells you who your top fans are and how many comments they post per week across the platform. And some of it's pretty questionable. If I post one comment a week on a video, that's probably a good week. I'm not one to post. I don't have anything to say. Not that 300 other people won't already have said. I have to add to almost any conversation. So we're still calling Orange Boy here. Tell us about yourself, or else we'll have to talk to AI. Why do germanium transistors sound better than silicon? I don't know. I always thought germanium transistor radios were more sensitive, but I think that's just some kind of weird something. I don't think they are. I should pull up that see if I can find it here and show it. I'll include this in a. That's kind of weird. Yeah, it's germanium has a lower forward bias than silicon. They also have better signal to noise ratio, but I don't know about that. Germanium transistors get noisy, super noisy, like waterfall status. Germanium specs are all over the place. They weren't stable. That's true. Germanium transistors can get noisy, particularly a problem with preamps and old tape decks. Yes, correct. They become waterfall generators. Really, really bad. They do have a lower forward voltage, so I think they might work better you might be able to do more with them, say, with a radio that runs on 1 AA. Germanium has a cleaner, crisp sound. Okay, we're talking about germanium transistors right now, so let's do that. I don't know how a germanium transistor can sound warmer. A germanium transistor has a higher forward voltage than a silicon transistor. I think that's backwards. The forward drop on a germanium is usually around 200 millivolts. On a silicon, it's usually around 600. Please see this. Shango, please see this. I have a CRT monitor that lost vertical and horizontal deflection. I was wondering if you'd be able to help me troubleshoot. Well, if it's lost both vertical and horizontal deflection, it's just a dot in the middle of the screen. That's usually not a common failure, because when you lose horizontal deflection, you usually lose high voltage. So you end up with nothing. Vertical failure is a very common thing on old TVs. I've spent a lot of time trying to cover that in videos, specifically vertical deflection. And it's very, you need to troubleshoot it. It could be anything from a capacitor, resistor, open transformer, bad yoke, bad tube socket. It's really hard to troubleshoot complex circuits over the phone. I wish I could do that. When you troubleshoot something that's in front of you, you have all of your senses to work with. When you're doing it remotely, when someone's telling you the problem, you're very limited in, what you can do. It's all a guessing game. Okay, what are we talking about here? Are we still on germanium transistors? People have said forever that germanium sounds more like a tube amp. Maybe it's the amp designs with older transistors. I thought they called FETs, FETs. I thought that they called vacuum tubes fire FETs, because FETs had a similar sound to tubes. I don't think that germanium transistors would sound any different. Probably the sound difference comes from the fact that they have to use transformers, coupling transformers, because the transistors are so klooky-doobler. There's maybe all the noise germanium makes is masking the distortion. And I really think that this is the transformers, the fact that the germanium transistors either have an inner stage transformer or usually an inner stage and an output transformer. I recently picked up a 1976 RCA XL100 that had an open capacitor causing a feedback loop not to run. CTC74 chassis. Those are fun to work on, that SCR deflection. Got to remember that germanium transistors were discontinued before modern manufacturing. But I don't know if that applies. Does that apply to the Soviet stuff? Because Russia was making germanium transistors up into the mid-90s. Yeah, how do you define warm? Is warm sound like limited high end, more emphasis on the lower frequencies? There were no NPNs. That is a false statement. There are NPN germanium transistors. Lots of them. Germanium transistors are noisy in most instances, limited lifespan compared to silicon ones. I don't know about that. I saw that CTC74 video today. Did we have a video on the CTC74? Who posted that? I'm way behind in these comments. I had an EE professor that explained mathematically why tubes have a different sound than transistors. I wish I could remember the... I think it's pretty simple. I think that vacuum tubes have second and fourth order harmonic distortion, and transistors have first and third order. So one has even order and one has odd order, something like that. Germanium transistors were... I'll send you an email about my monitor. Try and ask here, man. I have a hard time answering emails. Oh, Blake's channel. Hi, Blake. Are you here, Blake? I'm so behind in these comments. I posted a CTC7 request. Isn't Bob Anderson working on a CTC7 right now? Check out Bob's videos. There's several people working on a CTC, early CTCs right now. Or is he working on a 5? Bob's working on a 5. But you're busy reading a bunch of other comments. Blake. Hi, Blake. Phil Hendry. Let's look in this radio. This has some Soviet germanium transistors in it. So these are Soviet. What are these? These are I don't have them. Oh, here it is right here. 403. Is it GT 403? And before the goings on, you used to be able to buy these things like 100 for $15 shipped. This is a really beefy audio output transistor that just pretty much universally will replace just about in where's my other, and I stuck an RCA in there for the driver, and these are all the originals here. These are all original. Lag. Let's see. Let's see what eBay has to offer for GT403 right now. Nothing. Really? Yeah, there you go. Man, the price went up. $35 for 50 plus $12. Yeah, it's a 4-watt. Really? Yeah, price went up because you mentioned it. Yeah, there's still plenty of them available. The good thing is about them is they're made in the, late 80s, early 90s, so they're not all noisy and crappy like the old ones. Even the NTEs are probably from the 60s now at this point. Reading comments. Germanium transistor discussion. Need a video on those little GE TVs behind the Zenith? Absolutely. That's why I got them. I hope the CRTs are good in them. Germanium transistors and tin whiskers. I think that was only a problem in the some of the English ones. That was never a problem that I saw in the American stuff or the Soviet stuff. Are you into 70s hi-fi tuners like Sansui T80? There's other guys that have that market. There's other guys that have those, are into doing the hi-fi receiver stuff. Jordan Peer used to do a lot of that stuff. There's other guys that are doing it. Good night, Ryan. Good to see you. Get a shortwave radio and we can play. Those prices went up as soon as the Russia thing happened. I quickly bought up some Russian EL84 equivalents. Yeah, I got a bunch of those. The 6BQ5. They also had a 6BM8, Soviet 6BM8, as well as a Soviet 6L6. Used to be able to buy those tubes for hardly anything. But now, because you can only, because of the payment, we just can't be friends. I'm reading this thing about the monitor. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man. Orange Boy. Tell us about yourself, Orange Boy. We want to know. We want to write up here. I think early germanium transistors had more of a problem with migration of the... I don't know. I don't see a lot of failed germanium transistors. Overall, considering how old they are, I mean, we're talking, 60, 70 years old now? Okay, so the Magnavox, like the early Magnavox tube Astrosonics, or the console stereos with the tube stereo multiplex decoder. The problem with Magnavox is finding service data on any of their stuff. You have to look up the individual chassis number for each individual chassis in SAMS, and hopefully they have it. It's really good to have service data when you're when you're trying to align stereo multiplex decoders. It's really handy to have alignment instructions, because there are several points that you have to align, and some of them are the alignment, not just peak it. Tube stereo multiplex, I don't know, it's a pain in the ass. I have a video on one of those, and I struggled with it, and I had to do it without service data, and it was literally using the multiplex, the ST1000 multi-stereo alignment generator, and just turning the cores until I got it to sound like it was doing something. Don't buy anything marked located in Ukraine. I don't know. We've had good luck buying things from Ukraine. I've heard a lot of good feedback from people. What was that really great portable AM/FM shortwave set you did a video on? That, I don't even know how to, Q docent or some weird word that starts with a Q. This is really good background noise to reading comments. FM stereo decoding is pretty sensitive to drift. the phasing angles and stuff are really critical, and tubes just like to drift. That's why a tube television set has, 50 pots on the back for adjusting everything, is to compensate for all the different drifting, and it just never worked well. It never stayed in alignment. 1963 Astrosonic. Yeah, have fun. You're just going to have to do it, man. Get in there. Get in there and just make sure all the on the Astrosonic, get in there, make sure all the resistors and capacitors are good. The resistors, the plate resistors like to drift in those. And then you're just going to have to try and align it by ear. It's best if you have a stereo alignment generator. It really makes it easy. Would you be interested in doing a repair on a Soviet transistor radio? I have one that's in really good shape. I have a ton of, thank you, I appreciate that. I have a ton of Soviet transistor radios. Today's video was supposed to be on a Soviet transistor radio, but because I wasn't going to the desert, I didn't release that video yet. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of them that I ordered when I saw the crackdown coming. I hoarded up. I stocked up on a lifetime supply of them. So QODOSEN QDOSEN DX 286. QDOSEN DX 286. QODOSEN. That's the solid state radio, the new one that I would recommend. Need FMDX live streams. Do you have a go-to roundy color TV that you use? No, not really. I don't watch much TV. The TVs that are sort of in use are the Packard Bell, 1968 Packard Bell test set, and also a Zenith metal color tabletop. That's it. Oh, I got an old tube tester here we can look at. We'll do that in a second. I have not been able to find a cause yet. Very complex inside. A lot of stuff is like that, and you really got to have service data. That's why I stress getting service data. I mean, without service data, you can do it, but it's really just hit and miss. You're really just shooting a target blind. I think AM stereo would have canceled FM stereo if it came along quicker. I don't know about that. People like the bandwidth of FM, and they like the bass, and they like the no noise, no background noise, no buzzing when you go under power lines. People are liking these TEF 6686 radios. They seem pretty sensitive with a good antenna. Okay, so all of those I've tested have one problem. They have a bunch of buzzing and whistling and squealing from the display. And even if you turn the display off, it doesn't go away. So I found them to be sensitive, but I have not found them to work well. FM is a line of sight transmission. Has different care. I don't know. FM bounces around pretty good. It can be DX. 3 meters can propagate under certain conditions. Okay, so here, this comment, this QODOSEN is also so far the best FM DXer. Just can't find anything more sensitive. Great on shortwave too, but I would go with a TechSun PL990 for shortwave. Okay, Orange Boy said hi. Tell us about yourself, Orange Boy. We need a bio here. Hoarders are hoarders. What's wrong with a hoarder? Are you jealous of hoarders? I don't know what hoarder is. When I think of a hoarder, I think of somebody that has, that saves, fast food wrappers and cups and plastic bags and, buys stuff off of Home Shopping Network and never opens the package. And I don't know if somebody who hoards vintage TVs, I don't know if that's considered hoarding. Hoarders without borders. I'd rather be hoarding. Hoarding electronics is good. Collection artist. Hoarders have a mental illness. I've seen a lady who had, now we're on a good topic here. I've seen a lady who had 3 condos stacked to ceiling with stuff, and I mean packed to next year. Okay, well, what kind of stuff? What was she hoarding? I have a GE Portacolor from late 1970 with pretty bad RF issues. The TV is practically deaf. Channel 10 comes in about the best. Some channels get nothing, no snow or anything. It's probably a tuner issue. Some of those GEs had wafer tuners and the wafers would slip on the shaft. I think there's usually 4 or 5 wafers in there for different ones for the oscillator, ones for the mixer, and there's a couple for the RF. Open the tuner up, check all that stuff in the tuner. RF issues can be difficult to fix. Sensitivity issues can be difficult to fix. Okay, back to hoarding here. I think also with the hoarding thing, does what you're hoarding, is it a liability or an asset? Does it serve you in some way? Does it serve the general public in some way? Does it serve humanity in some way? If you're hoarding fast food wrappers and Coke cans and bottles of urine, does that serve anything positively? I would like to think that TVs and radios serve something. I mean, people enjoy them. I enjoy them. I'm not going to enjoy fast food wrappers or, you know, the latest fashion from BSTV. Yeah, hoarding clothes. Reading the hoarding comments. Stop by. Stand by. Oh, no. Does your hoard work or is it only for parts? See if we can do the TV commercial here real quick. I tried to post this, but see if I can find it here. Stand by. With all the Sony Trinitrons, a lot of them we fixed.
It's Target's 25th anniversary sale. Save big on the latest fashion, state-of-the-art technology, and snacks for the whole family. From cassette players to color TVs, we've got deals that will make your day. Come on down to your local Target.
Let's start over here.
Karen, are we out of cheese balls?
So I'm not sure I recognize this specific set right here, but some of them I will point out the ones that we fixed on the channel or worked on.
It's Target's 25th anniversary sale. Save big on the latest fashion, state-of-the-art technology, and snacks for the whole family. From cassette players to color TVs, we've got deals that will make your day. Come on down to your local Target and stock up on everything.
Karen, are we out of cheese balls?
An event this big only comes around once. Don't miss it.
So when they show the video game here, that's a set that there's a repair video on that hasn't been, that right there. And then of course a lot of these, well, several of these we fixed on the channel right here. Several of those. This was all done real live playback. And this is a Target commercial. You can go watch it, called Step Into 1987. So sometimes when your hoard gets used to entertain other people, it's not just a hoard, right? It's a really good commercial. You got to go through it frame by frame. The amount of detail, the flashback to the 80s, the amount of detail they got into that stupid commercial, all the graphics, all the clothing, the snack bar, the registers. I mean, everything is just on point 1987 in that video. And they film those commercials at 24 frames per second. And that's for a combination of Target and the Netflix deal Stranger Things. So it's a 2.5-minute commercial. You could go watch it. But all those TVs are modified to play back 24 frames per second. So the vertical oscillator has to be slowed down, and the vertical height and linearity have to be modified.
En casi todo, hasta el dinero.
Right.
You know?
En aquellos días, María se puso en camino y fue.
So you
There's been a lot of reminiscing lately about the 80s. Simpler time before AI and, you know, when people would actually deal with each other face to face. There's more of that intimate human connection than there is now.
Look, I've spent a lot of my professional career working for ICE, working for DHS, working for the Department of Justice, doing all kinds of different things. And I can assure the audience today that it is impossible, it is completely impossible to thoroughly vet and screen some person who arrives at the southern border, even if it's at a port of entry, from Tajikistan or from some banana republic. It is impossible. It takes a long time to thoroughly vet and screen and determine that the person who is trying to come into the United States is, in fact, not a threat to the American people. And yet, what this case represents in the policies of the last administration, what they represented as well, is this.
Reading the comments. This is good music to read comments too. Hey man, elevator music rocks. Sometimes I listen to it at work. I put it on and make everybody suffer through it. KJBM online. Your Love Sounds headquarters. KJBM. You could stream it. Happy, smiley, sunshine, rainbow, lollipop, unicorn music. Okay, so let's recap here. Should we listen to the Xena Transoceanic with the transistor pulled out of it? See what it sounds like single-ended? Now, KJBM rocks. You know who turned me on to that was V Westlife. That dude knows his radio stations, man.
Parte de Vancouver. We will see what happens, but we all collectively as American people cannot take our eye off the ball when it comes to the issue of illegal immigration.
So that was hard for me to let go, no? Para mí era cuestión del
Hello， 係嗰5個字咧，係加個方字落去咧，個眼字咧就
哇，嗰度嘅，好深水清喎。邊位嚟㗎？係咪周太嚟㗎
？Let's take a look at this tube tester.
OK，係啊，你答啱咗啦，係個方字啊，四方個方，因為四。
Stay. I'll show you guys this thing. This thing is so primitive. This is a tube tester. Look at this thing. These are all the tubes it tests. Not very many. These are your early radio tubes. I mean, it only goes really up to the three-digit tubes, 6D6, 6C5. But most of them are, 45, 35, 41, 40, 35, 37. This is so cool. And I think this thing has one capacitor in it. I had it apart. It has a neon bulb for the shorts indicator. I mean, not that that's anything, but I think the glass is touching the needle. Yeah, I need to fix this, and we need to use this in a video. Is this cool or what? Dial Junior, Pacific Sales Corporation. Custom built, San Francisco. And here's more tubes. This is just playing show and tell. Yeah, talk about a set piece. In the beginning of the live stream, I showed this. And it was quickly identified. So I think we're going to restore this in the future. All the tubes are missing, but I'll have to find those. Okay. I forget what the model number of it was, but it was quickly identified. So anyway, I think that's about it. I played show and tell with a whole bunch of stuff.
Carolina, and we keep trying to...
We're healed. That's why there's bread. That's part of discerning his body that enables us to partake worthily. The word of reconciliation opened the door to his life of healing. And with his stripes, we are healed. And I take it in that confidence tonight, as I hope you do there in the home. Now, don't...
You're welcome to move out. I was from you a month ago.
All right. So I think in the future, I need to, next time we do this, I need to get down closer to the border and try and get some of the stations from Mexico, because they just, when it comes to music, they just seem to be right there. Still able to hear high-pitched whining. Yeah. Yeah, anything? Well, it went quiet on me. A lot of complaints about the audio. I'm really curious to listen back to this. I can't wait to listen back to this and see what people were talking about. Did I screw with the mic settings and get those wrong? I did drop the low pass filter down a little bit. So I'd be curious to see what's up with that. What did I miss? I missed Orange Boy. Did we get a bio there? Sorry, I'm not singling anybody out. I was just the thing with this is all these comments kind of just vanish to the ether when you kill the live chat. Or kill the live stream, so it's sort of weird. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to find them. They're forever recorded somewhere, like everything is today, but it's not easy. Okay, there's a little discussion here. And YouTube likes to scrub comments too. So I have no control over that. If the letters or words are in a pattern that they don't like, it just gets saved somewhere where nobody can see it, but it's gone. Anyway. Shadow banning is bad tonight. One thing I will say about, as an answer to, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but if you just think of it practically, if you're posting a bunch of comments, the thing is just going to think you're spamming. So, and this goes for comments on videos too, across the board. If you're posting 5 comments on 10 videos a day, it's going to think you're spamming. It's the way it's set up. So if you're getting shadow banned, slow down on your overall commenting across the whole platform would be my suggestion. If you just, that thing is super, super complex how it works, and it's super aware. I think the comments are saved. Ask Rock. Okay, Orange Boy is oranging here. We want a bio, Orange Boy. Yeah, if it's banning or blocking, rearrange your words a little bit, or play thesaurus with it and switch the words up a little bit, because certain patterns just automatically get scrubbed. I've noticed that. All right, it's time to say goodnight. We'll do this again. And hopefully from out away from everything where we don't get KNX over everything. And this is just a fun thing on top of your weekly video. So have fun. Can't wait to listen back and see what it sounds like. 73s.